Hey, it's Peter from Cars and Guitars, the next part of my series for your Street Beast 427 Cobra kit car, the front suspension. When you order your kit from Street Beast, it'll come all set up with the mounting points for the lower control arms, the rack and pinion. If you get the coil-over mounting option, you'll have the nest in there for the coil-over shock, and of course the mounting brackets in front for the rack and pinion. I wanted an adjustable control arm for the upper control arm, so I went with SPC control arms, and as you can see, they were completely wrong. The lower control arm is set up for drag racing, and the upper control arm ends up cutting off through the shock tower right where the coilover spring would be, so the SPC control arms were completely wrong for this project. Since the SPC control arms push that spindle forward a couple inches, it simply won't work, and the SPC control arms are not correct and will not work on the Street Beast Cobra kit car. They do make one that looks like it'll fit, but I tried that and it does not fit. The rack is no big deal. You can get one from any manufacturer you're comfortable with, like Flaming River. I got the chrome plated one, manual rack, 4-turn lock to lock, and I got the QA1 coilover shocks with the chrome plated springs. I searched high and low to find an insulator for that spring to go between the spring and the shock tower. I don't like that metal to metal contact, and I couldn't find one anywhere. Summit does make an adjustable one, but I just happened to find these insulators in my pile of parts. I always save parts from all the cars I work on. I don't know where they came from, but you can see they fit the springs perfectly. Once I trimmed them down so they fit up in the nest, I used these and they worked perfectly. As I go along, I'm taking the opportunity to clean up the welds that are extremely messy from Street Beast, very sloppy. It's a matter of grinding them down, making them look nice so that when you paint your frame, the frame looks just as nice as the body. The lower control arm tube is welded in, and you can see it's not great, but it is welded in there, and even though that's a long tube, it does get warped. So when you go to put your bolt in there, it's not going to fit, and it's just a matter of reaming out the hole. All I need to do is make a simple tool, a long rod with a slit in there, put some sandpaper in there, run it through the tube. This is a tool I use to port and polish heads with some 36 grit sandpaper. You run it through that tube, 4 or 5 minutes, you'll have it honed out good enough to get that lower bolt to slide through there nice and smooth. After looking at a few different manufacturers and talking to a few people, I decided on the full tilt custom rods control arms. I got the chrome plated models, which took a little bit longer. It was originally 4 to 6 weeks, but it took about 8 weeks, but it was definitely worth the wait. I talked to Clay at Full Tilt Street Rods. Great guy to talk to, very, very helpful. He helped me get what I needed. He helped me when I had trouble getting the control arms from the plater, and it took a little bit longer, but he did right by me. This is a picture from their website. They do offer a hub-to-hub kit, so if you want to buy the complete kit for your Cobra, you can get it right from Full Tilt. After installing the lower control arm, just had some minor adjustments, had to grind down some bushings to get them to fit right. But the Full Tilt control arms, the upper and lower, absolutely beautiful. I would highly recommend them. Great people to deal with. Service was impeccable, and they go out of their way to help you. Very, very nice components. For the braking system, I use stainless steel braking components all the way around. Even though the front rotors came with races in it, I took them out. They didn't look too nice. They came from China and looked pretty chintzy. So I punched those out and put the races in that actually came with the bearings. And I like to use a good grease, nice roller bearing industrial grease to preload and pack those bearings. The components from Stainless Steel Brake Corporation, I really like them. You can get the drilled vented option with the slotted, and I think their components are fantastic for the price. After you get the bearing packed and the washer on, nut on, preloaded, and set up, it's a very, very nice setup from Stainless Steel bearings. Pretty standard, but that's what it looks like with the dual piston caliper on there. You can put this whole thing together in about 30 minutes. It's a fairly easy setup. The caliper, all the adjusters and the brackets, bolts right on. Here's a picture of the back of the components, the Full Tilt upper and lower control arms, QA1 coilover shock, chrome plated spring, and the Stainless Steel Brake Corporation dual piston caliper with rotor. All excellent components. Would recommend every single one of them. I'm going with the 225/45 R17 tire, and they're mounted to the 17-inch Halibran replica wheels made by Vintage Wheels. Absolutely beautiful wheels for the money. It's a 2-piece aluminum polished wheel, painted center. Gorgeous wheels. Gorgeous wheels. If you're having a hard time deciding what you need, you can call Vintage Wheels and talk to Bob. Excellent guy to talk to. He knows his wheels, he knows his tires, he knows kit cars, and he'll make sure you get the right wheels for your car. Here's a back shot of all of the setup. All you have to do is replicate this on the other side. Be very careful who you have mount your tires to your rims. I had it done at a Goodyear store. Their equipment was in bad repair. I told them to be careful, and even though I told them to be careful, they completely destroyed the inside of one of the rims, claiming that it wasn't their responsibility. They only guarantee the outside. So right now I'm fighting with the store, but make sure who mounts your tires has good equipment, has experience with the rims, and they're going to do a good job for you. As you're setting up the suspension and the control arm, just a matter of getting the spindle to be plumb, up and down, back and forth. Make sure you have clearance when you turn the rack each direction, both in the upper and lower control arm. The lower control arm will be fixed, but you can adjust the upper control arm. It will slide back and forth. And just make sure you have clearance all the way around. Pretty simple to set up, nothing that complicated, pretty straightforward. And if you call Full Tilt or QA1, all of their technical support people are very, very helpful. I will give you a helpful hint. If you get any chrome bolts, make sure you use a 6-point socket and do it by hand, because if you use an impact wrench, you completely destroy a chrome bolt. So make sure you use the right size socket, 6-point all the time. Do it by hand. Take your time. Don't rush. Don't rush with an impact wrench. I was thinking about making a simple video, Tireology 101, tell you everything you want to know about tires and more. I was an engineer for Goodyear for almost 4 years, so I can tell you everything you'd like to know about tires, sizing, defects, what defects to look for when you buy them, what defects you can pick out before the tires are mounted to make sure you get something that's not going to be a problem down the road, and what you might experience down the road. Don't take excuses when you go to take it back to the store. So if you're interested, let me know. I'll make that video. Again, this is Peter from Cars and Guitars. Hope you enjoyed the video on the front suspension for your Cobra kit car, Street Piece Cobra kit car. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email or reply to this video, and I'll answer every question I can. Thanks.